5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello once again and welcome to another edition of Handicappers Corner. I'll be your co-host Mike Heads along with Drew Forster. We're going to go through all 7 races on Saturday's program, and after a small break we'll go through Sunday's program as well at Hastings. We'll do all that this morning. Well, Drew, we just have the one scratch. It's in the 3rd race. That's number 7, Runaway Reggie's out, so just the one change to report so far for the Saturday card. A fast racing strip. Rained a lot during the week. The last couple of days have been great, so
lucky we're getting sunny weekends here at
that's the right time. Usually we get sunny from Monday to Thursday and then rain from Friday through Sunday, but that hasn't been the case. It's been very nice on the weekends, and it really shows in the crowds. They've been great. So let's get the first half of the Daily Double. Let's get some winners going.
First race is a maiden optional 30, basically maiden special for 3 and up. In this race I went with the 6, Timberon, out of the Dave Forster barn. He's just got the one race under his belt. He got in a lot of trouble in that race.
Yeah, he was
trying to get on the first turn, ran into Harold Maraby's horse. Luckily, that horse kept him in a little bit. Raced up on the pace. He ran really green, adds the blinkers today, so I think if he's a little more focused, he's going to be tough to beat. Second spot, I went with a horse who actually ran second there, Stone Ridge Rocket. He had come out of Turf Paradise. He'd been running all winter. Ishmael Mosquera, who is left for Northlands Park, is replaced by Richard Hamill, the leading rider the last 2 years, so no problem there. And then third spot, I have El Capone, another one who was in that same race opening weekend and showed some promise, just getting beat 4 lengths.
Yeah, I see it kind of the same way. I agree. I see Timberon improving with the blinkers. This horse had many excuses, ran a little rank, was out 4 wide through much of the race, still wasn't disgraced in the end, and I think this race has come up a little bit easier than the last one did. I think Timberon with the blinkers on probably will go gate to wire. Won't be such a rush going into the first turn. The race is 6.5, a little more time to settle as well for Timberon to improve. I agree with the 3, Al Capone. I put him in for second. I don't think the rail did him any justice last time. He kind of got shuffled back.
Kind of jammed down in there.
Yeah, came running late. I liked what I saw from Al Capone. He's another probable big improver. And I put the 2, Stone Ridge Rocket. Had the experience edge. He's a 4-year-old running against 3-year-olds. He was fit. I mean, I think maybe last time the time to get these horses might have been 2 weeks ago.
Last time when he had the fitness edge.
Yeah, and so I just think Timberon and El Capone will improve enough maybe to turn the tables on Stone Ridge Rocket. So I went 6, 3, and 2. In the second race, second half of your doubles, only 7 races today, so that pick 5 kind of sneaks up quick on you. It doesn't start in this one, but second race, we do have some 7,500 condition claimers going 6 furlongs. We'll back the gate up to 6 furlongs here, shorten it up a bit. I like the 4, Vying for Glory. No speed in the race. I just don't see a pace horse in here. I guess the outside 2, He's Busted and Cat's Axe might flash a little bit of speed, but they're not super quick. I can see Vying for Glory getting an easy lead here. And even if he doesn't get an easy lead, if he gets to sit second, I still think he's going to be pretty dangerous from there. I put Cat's Axe in for second, and I've been pretty impressed with the works on the 5 horse, Sage Hill Storm. He's been going well. Pedro Alvarado, I've seen him aboard this guy in the morning, so I'm going to give him a shot. Might be your price play, the 5 horse, Sage Hill Storm. So, but I did go 4, 7, and 5 in the second race.
I disagree with you a little bit there. I went with
out of the clouds.
Yeah, a horse that's going to be a little bit of a price, Out of the Clouds. I thought that was a good race last time. He ran into a pretty nice horse. You know, much the best horse was Dictatorship. Cat's Axe had the fitness edge running in the winner, and just got beat about 3 lengths coming off the bench. So I look for him to make a big improvement.
The only problem with him, I wish the race was 6.5.
Yeah,
6.5, exactly. I would have given him a little more of a look. At 6 furlongs, he just might run out of ground again. That's my only concern was with him, not his quality, because he's going to win a race at this level.
Yeah, absolutely. In second, I got Cat's Axe. Ran a big race last time, and I got Vying for Glory in third. Just he hasn't run yet.
Yep.
So I give the horses with the that have had a start a little bit of an advantage in here. And on to our third race, 3 and up, Colts and Geldings, non-winners of 3, lifetime for $3,000, and I went with the 8 horse Dictatorship, the horse we were just talking about. He was actually eligible for the last race, but Troy Taylor dropped him down to the $3,000 level off a win for the 7,500 non-3, which he was still eligible for. looks like...
Put them in. Put them in. That's why they win races. 30 and 40%.
Yes, entering pretty aggressively here. I would say he's kind of a best bet of the day kind of candidate. In second, I have Swongs out of the Craig McPherson barn. A horse that's been running all winter, dead fit, gets Hamill.
Right.
Everything looks like he's going his way. And in third, I have Under the Hood out of the Jody Rawson barn.
Yeah, I just see maybe a bit of pace in here. I do like this Dictatorship, but I think you're going to get 3 to 5, 4 to 5.
Yeah, he's not going to be much of a price.
And with the 2-horse Invincible Eagle in the race, a former Troy Taylor runner, we had him claimed, and we had him for a couple starts. He's very fast. He just might ruin. Just going 6.5 might be enough to maybe soften up Dictatorship in the stretch. So I'm going to try the Teddy Hurt runner, number 5, Mobile Supreme. I thought a pretty good run, second behind Can't Wait Forever. The time was pretty good. I just think this horse might get a good trip, just something different. Maybe 4 to 1 on him you might get. So I put him over Dictatorship, and I put Swongs in the third spot. But I did go 5, 8, and 4 in the third race, which does kick off the pick 5. Once again, early pick 5 today. It starts in race number 3. Pick 4 starts in race number 4. We do have some maiden $5,000 Colts and Geldings. Got a field of 9 going 6.5 furlongs. Not a lot of form to go on in here. A lot of firsters. A lot of horses that only ran once or twice last year. So I recommend, if you're at the track, check these horses out in the paddock. Go to the paddock, listen to Matt Jukic, watch how they're carrying themselves. You might just find yourself a horse that looks the part in the paddock, because that's what separates these sometimes. Not so much works, but because definitely when you don't have any form to go on, you must put a lot of stock in the appearance of the horse. I went to the 2 Ice Tiger. I like the connections, Terry Clyde, Fernando Perez. That was enough for me. The works are fine. He's gone 6.5 furlongs in the morning. Got a 102 and change. I didn't need much to go his way. I went to the 6, couple of Robbie Anderson runners, the 6 Count Green and the 5 Mass Mailing in behind. Both ran last year. Mass Mailing ran 3 times, showed some speed, and is working well, as is Count Green. So those were the 3 horses for me. I went 2, 6, and 5 in what, as I said, should be a wide open event. Yeah,
actually, I ended up pretty similar to you, Mike. I went with Mass Mailing. I gave him the edge because he does have a little more season. He's run 3 times. I see that as being a pretty big advantage here. I do have Ice Tiger in second. A horse that's got a good work tab all the way back. Was in Turf Paradise, was enjoying the good weather down in Phoenix. He comes in, out of a very strong barn. And I have Robbie Anderson's other horse, Count Green, in third spot. Another one who's had a start, which a lot of times is a big advantage in these races.
Yes, it is. And that's all it might take, just to experience. Some of these horses may need a race, and they don't run their A race, where Mass Mailing's probably going to run his A race, and which may be good enough to win.
Exactly, with his 3 starts under his belt. And on to the 5th race. Fillies and Mares Knowledge of the Year for 3,000. I went with number 5, Saratoga Outlaw. This is a horse that had been off for 2 years and ran a bang-up race off the bench, a 2-year break to run second opening weekend, and Hamill sticks with it. That's enough for me. I mean, getting a start in 2 years has to be an advantage for that horse. In the second spot, I have Epicurean. Hard-knocking campaign in Old Mare. Out of Harold Barraby's barn. Again, she gets that first race out of the way. I think she'll improve off of that. And in third spot, I have Diva Ballerina, the Mark Cluche barn. A horse ran third in that same race behind Saratoga Outlaw. She looks pretty tough. She's probably going to be a lower odds kind of horse, but I think I give the edge to Saratoga Outlaw.
Yeah, I see it quite similar. The only different one I had in the top 3 was the 3-horse Mahadi Joe, but I did go to the horse you just mentioned, Diva Ballerina. I think 6.5 furlongs will help. Extra half a furlong might be enough to get her up. She kind of got out of her running style, had to sit close to the pace because it was such a pedestrian pace. There were 24 was the opening quarter, so it just kind of got taken out of her running style. I think with 10 horses in here, you'll see a lot more pace. Might be able to settle early and make a run like she's used to doing. That's when her best races were, when she sits back and makes one good, produces a good run last quarter mile. So I put her on top. I put Mahadi Joe, who might take advantage of a hot pace as well. She was also compromised by the 6 furlongs. I don't think she was at her best, going 3/4 of a mile. And I put Saratoga Outlaw, as you mentioned, off 2 years and ran well. Got some soft fractions, but still ran well and got beat by a horse that had been running in our Dubai Girl. So I went 2, 3, and 5 in the 5th race. On to the the 6th race, first half of your late daily double. 17.5 fillies and mares. It is our feature event of the day. Good little betting race. A lot of these horses had run a couple weeks back. They were very close and competitive with each other. I went to the 2-horse Random Highs. He's coming back quickly in a week, but I was pretty impressed with the turn of foot this horse showed. This horse walked around these horses like they were standing still.
Yeah.
I know it was against easier horses. It was just 12.5, but still, the way the last this horse went 24-1 or 24-2 the last quarter. Yeah. That's pretty. That's rocking and rolling on our track. And so I just think Dynalite and Olive. I think Joey's Jewel will break. Obviously, hopped in the air at the gate or something, went to miss it at the start. So it wasn't in the mix. But I think Joey's Jewel will also contribute to what could be a lively pace, and that might set up Random Highs. Olive's the logical horse. I put him in for second, and the 1-horse Dynalite, who was fighting all the way to the end and ran very well also. So those are the 3 for me. I wouldn't key anyone. I would take all 3 of them in the pick 3 or pick 4s. But I did go 2, 4, and 1.
I'm pretty much in agreement with you there, except I have Olive on top. I thought that was a huge race she ran last time. She kind of got a little distracted, it seemed, down the stretch. Wasn't know as focused as she should have been. Or I think she might have won that race over Trelawney. So with getting a start around this course, I give her the advantage. I do have Random Highs in second because, like you said, that was a monster race last time.
Powerhouse move.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she's won this high before. It's not like
she spent most of her life up in this category.
25 and 35,000 merit.
Yeah, exactly. And in third, I put Camino, another horse that'll be rolling late. She ran a big race last time to come in third behind Olive and Trelawney. So
she was right in the mix. There was quite a few of them that were with only a couple lengths between them, which always makes it for a tougher betting race. But I think 6.5 will help some of these horses today.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice to go back to 6.5 furlongs. And the 7th race is 3-year-old fillies, maiden 20. Interesting race, full field of 10, and I went with the 4 Revster, a horse who just has a 1 start and ran against a very impressive Ann Seedy. I don't think you're going to run into any Ann Seedys in this race. So first start, she gets second. I like that. Coming out of John Snow's barn, he always does a really good job. Has him ready. Amadeo Perez,
he's riding very well.
Amadeo Perez.
If your last name isn't Perez, you haven't been winning many. Fernando and Amadeo have been winning a lot of the races.
So I have Revster on top. In second, I went with Maurice Glory. I know Barb thought a lot of this horse last year.
Ran in some
stakes and whatnot. Shows up first time for a price this year. Got to think,
she's got to be live down here for 20.
Exactly. And in third spot, I have Tracy McCarthy's Tricky Mind. Just, again, Tracy, very astute horsewoman. Had this horse, ran it once last year, which was in the Futurity. Shows up this year, first out of the box for maiden 20.
Well-bred, too. Out of Skyborn, who was a BC champ. And,
very nice mare,
Yeah, you're right. Excellent connections.
And for you?
I went to the 3 Connoisseur. I went a little different. I was impressed with her runs, last year. That was a good third running against the boys, actually. That's why I said his, because it was a boy race last year. Ran against Taylor's Deal. And,
exactly.
And that was unlucky to run into a horse like that at the maiden 20 level. Another one that had been running in some futurities. I like the work tab. Good draw. Might be the speed of it. Continued to break a little slow last year. Just kind of would break a heartbeat slow and then rush up to get in contention. But hopefully as a 3-year-old, going to leave there with the field, and then she can just assume position and not have to be used so hard. But I like Connoisseur. I put the 1 Maurice Glory, I agree, on the class drop. Might be the speed of the race. And the 4-horse Revster I put in for third. Just a good run from off the pace. How can you falter? She ran a good race and is one definitely eligible to improve. So I went 3, 1, and 4. Well, that'll do it for our Saturday, April 28th selections. We'll quickly recap them.
Picks coming up?
Yep. We'll have a slate coming up with both Drew and my selections. We'll start off with me.
You're up first.
Back in race number 1, I went to the 6-horse. That was Timberon. 6, 3, and 2. In the second race, I went 4, 7, and 5, and the 4-horse was vying for glory. In the third race, I went 5, 8, and 4. The 5-horse is Mobile Supreme. In the fourth race, I went to the 2, Ice Tiger, followed up by the 6 and 5. In the fifth race, I went 2, 3, 5, and the 2-horse is Diva Ballerina. In the sixth race, another deuce, hopefully lucky deuces today. 2, 4, and 1, headed by Random Highs. And in the finale, I went 3, 1, and 4. Connoisseur is the 3-horse. Those are Mike's picks for today.
And on to my picks. I agree with Mike. In the first race, I went with number 6, Timberon on top of the 3-2. In the second, I went a little bit of a price horse, Out of the Clouds, number 2 on top of the 7-4. And the third horse, not much of a price horse, Dictatorship, one of the favorites, heavy favorite, 8 on top of 4-6. In the fourth race, I went with number 5, Mass Mailing, over the 2-6. In the fifth race, I went with number 5, Saratoga Outlaw, over the 4-2. In the sixth race, I have number 4, Alive, on top of the 2-5. And in the seventh race, number 4, Revster, on top of the 1-8.
All right, up next, we had a chance to visit with Brian Butters. We have a special interview here on Handicappers Corner. Up next will be the interview with Brian Butters, who's the Director of Racing Sustainability. And after that interview, we'll have a bit of a break, and then Drew and I'll be back for our Sunday selections. Our guest today here on Handicappers Corner is Brian Butters, the Director of Racing Sustainability. He reports to the Horse Racing Industry Management Committee. Brian, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mike. Happy to be here.
Briefly describe your role. What is a Director of Racing Sustainability?
Well, it's a brand new role, as I think most people know. Put up by the Horse Racing Industry Management Committee about 10 months ago, and I went into the job about 6 months ago. And it's my interpretation of the role is to act as an intermediary between the main elements of the horse racing industry, that being the standardbred owners, the thoroughbred owners, and the racetrack operator. And the other side being, of course, the committee itself, which is charged with making important decisions about the overall direction of the industry. So, we know that it's important to have good communication between the people who are making those decisions and the people who are kind of at the sharp end of the business, operating racing on a constant basis. And so I try to bring my skill set, which has a lot of stakeholder relations and communications and public affairs experience in it, and work with all of those parties to try to make sure that we're openly communicating and we're transparent in our discussions, and hopefully get the important decisions brought to the attention of the committee so that they can be as well informed as possible.
I'll briefly tell our viewers a bit about your vision for the future of horse racing in British Columbia.
Well, I think the most important thing for the industry at this point is to have a certainty about there being a future for racing in BC. Stability. You can't have sustainability until you have stability. And I think the committee's done a lot of good work in the last couple of years to establish some of that stability. And I think from this point on, we need to convince the people who are operating in the horse racing industry, whether they be owners or breeders or trainers or whoever, that there is going to be racing sort of 2, 3, 4, 5 years out. So I think the consultation process that we're going to be undertaking here in the next short while is going to be critical to get ideas from everybody in the industry, and we can talk more about that later. But at this point, it's really important that the committee have the information that it needs to establish one or more viable business models that would allow horse racing to have a successful future in BC. We have a tremendously rich history here in British Columbia in racing. We have a lot of people whose livelihoods depend on racing, and a lot of people whose enjoyment depends on wagering and racing.
Big spin-off effects.
Absolutely, right into the agricultural sector. And so everything we can do to try to preserve that lifestyle, we want to do everything we can.
I know it can't happen overnight, but maybe describe the progress of creating a more certain future in the province.
I think the establishment of the industry committee has a lot to do with that. It does date back about 2.5 years. And I think the committee was very successful in solving some of the financial misunderstandings perhaps that existed between the various parts of the industry. And so we've got a good stable platform now on which we can try to build a structure and a philosophy and a vision for the future. And I think that's the step that the committee members themselves are most excited about, is kind of leaving the finances behind now that they're well established, and getting on with determining the strategy and the tactics for creating a future for horse racing in BC. We need to be able to do that. The time is now.
Yeah, part of the strategy will definitely be involving the BC Lottery Corporation, and as we witnessed last year, it was great to have their marketing team on board, and they really targeted the younger demographic, making, in combination with Hastings Racecourse, making Friday Night Lives a big success, a fun place to be, Hastings, and get that excitement back, get the young folks in there. Perhaps can you discuss any strategies or ideas that BCLC has for 2012?
Absolutely. We want to continue with that excitement.
Right.
I agree that a great job was done in creating more excitement and enthusiasm for horse racing. I've always felt that horse racing kind of skipped a generation, and we're trying to fill back in now and get those younger people involved in racing in a way that they were not previously. So the live product is tremendously important, but equally important, if not more important, is the 92% of the wagering that takes place, not by the live customer, but by people who are betting simulcast wagering, import wagering. And we need to find a way to try to move the needle of wagering so that the people who are currently doing that activity do more of it, hopefully at a higher wagering level, and that people who have not yet been introduced into that style of wagering do get introduced and find it exciting and graduate from the live product to the simulcast product and sort of move through that pipeline so that they're lifelong racing fans and support the industry through their wagering. And that's how we make our bread and butter, and it's very important for us to be able to market that, and that's where you'll see, I think, more focus this year than in the past.
Yeah, it's great to have them on board, BCLC. I know up on your calendar is some industry stakeholder consultations. These are extremely important, and it's pretty much inviting every stakeholder, whatever faction you're in, whether it's breeding, you're a jockey, a trainer, an owner, to give some input in these consultations. And I know you can't fix an industry until you get to know all the problems and the little flaws, and at least knowing the inner workings of the industry, you get to talk to everyone. And I know those are coming up very shortly.
They are coming up very soon, and we do welcome all the participants in the industry to come forward and speak to us. We're creating opportunities for them to be part of that process. And the important thing is that we try to gather as many ideas as we can, and some of those ideas might be conventional, and we hope that some of them are unconventional. And we're going to be also looking at things that other jurisdictions have tried that have succeeded. So we're looking to put in practice the best ideas that we can identify, load up the committee with as many of those ideas as we can, and get them some time to think about a creation of one or more viable business models that will allow this industry to succeed in the future.
Well, that's great news, and our industry is far better for having you in it. Thank you for joining us today here on Handicappers Corner, Brian.
Mike, it's a pleasure. Thanks. I'll look forward to coming back sometime.
Now on screen is the information that you will be asked at the BC Horse Racing Industry Stakeholder Consultations. There is the purpose. It is to develop a sustainable business model for the industry going into the future. What does the success of BC racing industry look like to you? Another question would be, what factors does the committee need to consider? What questions they need to answer before moving forward in developing a new and sustainable business model for the BC racing industry? And what conventional or even unconventional ideas you have for building a sustainable BC horse racing industry? Here are the dates and times of the upcoming consultations. The first one is at Hastings Park on Wednesday, May the 2nd. Time is 1 o'clock at the old slots floor in the Grandstad area down on the tarmac. This is for owners. Any owner is invited to come to Hastings on Wednesday, May the 2nd at 1 o'clock with your brilliant ideas for racing into the future. On Thursday, May the 3rd, they will be interviewing GPED Racing from 8:30 in the morning to 9:30. Then trainers, jockeys, veterinarians, and grooms, or any other interested parties will be at 10 o'clock to 12:30, once again in the old slots floor at Hastings. Later in the day, the bettors will be involved at 1:30 to 3:30 on the old slots floor, once again Thursday, May the 3rd. And then track operations will be interviewed at 3:30 to 5 o'clock on the old slots floor. Up in Vernon on Tuesday, May the 15th, interior horse racing will be invited to contribute. The place, the Village Green Hotel. The time, 1 o'clock. That's 1 o'clock up in Vernon, Tuesday, May the 15th. And on Wednesday, May the 16th, they'll be in Chilliwack for the Thoroughbred Breeders from 1 o'clock until 3 at the Coast Hotel. So do bring out all of your ideas. Your input is greatly appreciated and really needed. So please do take advantage of these Thoroughbred stakeholder consultations. Our guest today here on Handicappers Corner is Brian Butters, the Director of Racing